How did the Holy Prophet ﷺ use listening and repetition as aids to memory? He often organized information into numbered groups such as 3 or 5 points. He repeated important statements and used pauses so learners could remember and anticipate the message. How were gestures and visual examples used in prophetic teaching? The Holy Prophet ﷺ pointed to body parts, changed posture, and referred to visible objects such as the moon. These actions made abstract ideas clearer and strengthened memory. What is meant by Jawami al Kalim? Jawami al Kalim means concise expressions that communicate broad and deep meaning in very few words. The Holy Prophet ﷺ used clear, memorable, and comprehensive statements. Why is early childhood education important in Islam? Early childhood is a period of rapid physical, emotional, social, and intellectual development. It provides the foundation for personality, lifelong learning, and responsible religious and social life. How is education a natural process in the Islamic perspective? Every child possesses fitra and an inner urge for self-development. Education should nurture this natural potential in a supportive environment rather than suppress it through unnecessary interference. How is education a social process? According to Iqbal, education develops the individual through dynamic interaction with society. It should reflect the values and ideals of the community while helping each person achieve self realization. What is the role of Tawheed in education? Tawheed gives unity and direction to individual and social life. It supports ideals such as freedom, equality, solidarity, moral order, and responsible participation in society. Why is the development of Khudi important in education? Khudi is the developing self that contains creative and spiritual potential. Education should strengthen it through purposeful activity, motivation, experience, trial, and error. Who are the first and most important trainers of a child in Islam? Parents are the first and most important trainers because they guide the child's early character, habits, and understanding. Their advice helps children benefit from experience and avoid harmful mistakes. Why must educators be fair and impartial with children? Fair treatment protects children's right and develop trust, confidence, and willingness to accept truth. Partiality may produce jealousy, envy, and emotional harm. Why should educators choose the right time for advice? Advice is more effective when a child is emotionally ready and the situation is meaningful. Choosing the right time reduces resistance and helps the lesson leave a lasting impression. What is the importance of praying for children? Praying for children expresses love and seeks Allah's blessing for their growth and well being. Both parents and teachers can use prayer to provide spiritual and psychological support. How can rewards and warnings support early childhood education? Rewards and appropriate warnings can motivate children and guide behavior when used wisely. They should encourage improvement without humiliation, fear, or unfair pressure. Why are schedules and routines important in early childhood classrooms? Regular routines make children feel secure and teach them to function in an organized environment. A balanced schedule should include learning, meals, hygiene, rest, and free outdoor play. What is age appropriate supervision and discipline? Teacher must supervise children continuously and plan activities according to their developmental needs. Discipline should be firm, fair, and respectful and must never involve physical, verbal, or emotional abuse. Why should an early childhood teacher observe and communicate? Observation helps the teacher assess children's development, interests, and difficulties. Findings should be shared regularly with parents, while serious concerns should be communicated immediately. What is an anecdotal record? An anecdotal record is a dated, specific note describing an important example of a child's behavior or performance. It helps the teacher plan suitable next learning experience. What is a portfolio? In early childhood education, a portfolio is an organized collection of a child's work, observation, checklist, and parent input. It supports assessment, planning, and understanding of individual strengths and needs. What is logs into a concept of tabula rasa? Tabula rasa means that the child's mind begins as a blank slate. Experiences, upbringing, and the environment gradually shape knowledge, habits, and personality. What was the main purpose of education according to Locke? Locke wanted education to produce a sound mind in a sound body. He emphasized virtue, useful knowledge, good manners, wisdom, and practical preparation for life. How has Locke's environmentalism influenced modern education? It emphasizes that the quality of the environment strongly affects learning and development. It supports early intervention and carefully designed sensory learning environments. Who was Rousseau and Pestalozzi? Jean-Jacques Rousseau was a major French naturalist philosopher, while John Heinrich Pestalozzi was a Swiss educational reformer. Both promoted education that follows children's natural development. What is naturalism in education? Naturalism holds that nature is the basis of reality and that knowledge begins through the senses. Education should follow the child's natural growth rather than impose an artificial system. State four principles of naturalistic education. Naturalistic education emphasizes a natural setting, child-centeredness, maximum freedom, and sensory experience. It also values happiness, healthy development, and the constructive use of instinct. What are the major aims of naturalistic education? It aims include self-expression, self-preservation, full development, economic efficiency, and adjustment with the environment. It also seeks the healthy redirection of instincts and independent individuality. How should the naturalistic curriculum be organized? The curriculum should follow child psychology, natural interest, and stages of development. It should begin with sensory training and later include subjects connected with physical and natural development. What is negative education in Rousseau's curriculum? Negative education protects the child from premature formal instructions during the early years. It allows freedom, natural experience, and learning according to readiness. Why is teaching methods are preferred by naturalists? Naturalists prefer observation, exploration, direct experience, learning by doing, and contact with nature. The teacher provides minimum guidance and avoids excessive bookish instruction. Why is Comenius called the lost founder of early childhood education? Comenius presented important early ideas about universal, sensory, and developmentally appropriate education. His contribution was overlooked for a long period despite its strong influence on later educators. What are Comenius' view of education in a child's life? Education should begin in the early years and follow the child's readiness and timetable of growth. Knowledge should be presented through the senses, real objects, and pictures. Who was Robert Owen? Robert Owen was a Welsh industrialist, philanthropist, and social reformer. He promoted better working conditions, cooperative communities, and public education for young children. What were the aims of Owen's first infant school? The school aimed to protect children from poverty and harmful surroundings. It provided a pleasant environment with practical learning, cooperation, play, singing, and little punishment. How did English infant schools influence other countries? European countries and later American programs adopted their child centered and informal practices. They influenced classroom organization, discovery learning, and attention to individual development. What role did Owen assign to the environment in children's education? Owen believed that children learn about themselves and the world through their surroundings. Society should therefore control and improve the conditions in which children are raised. What was Froebel's concept of kindergarten? Froebel established the first kindergarten in Germany in 1837 as a transition between home and school. It used play, games, gifts, and occupations to support intellectual, social, and spiritual development. Why was the early Froebelian kindergarten criticized? Progressive educators considered it too rigid, structured, and teacher dominated. Later, reforms added free play, social interaction, art, music, nature, study, and flexible materials. What did Froebel mean by education as dictating and giving away? The teacher usually gives children freedom for self-activity but intervenes when real obstacles block development. Guidance should be based on truth and goodness, not the teacher's personal mood. What was the main purpose of a school according to Froebel? A school should help children understand the inner unity of God, humanity, and nature. Its main concern is character and motivation rather than the simple transmission of facts. Who were Margaret and Rachel Macmillan? Margaret and Rachel Macmillan were social reformers who worked to improve the health and education of poor children. They campaigned for school meals, baths, and medical services. Why did Macmillan sisters promote nursery provision? Children under 5 were excluded from compulsory school medical inspection. The sisters wanted preventive care based on fresh air, sunlight, nutrition, food, and early education. What was the Macmillan Open Air Nursery School? It was a play oriented nursery and teacher training center opened in London in 1911. It served young children and combined care, health, outdoor experience, and learning. Why did the Macmillan use the term nursery school? The term expressed their concern with the nurture as well as education. Their program addressed health, care, wonder, play, and the child's overall development. How did nursery schools develop in the US? American nursery schools were influenced by English nursery schools, progressive education, and developmental psychology. Early examples included the city and country school and laboratory nursery schools. What were the main characteristics of early nursery schools? They focused on the whole child, individual development, and family involvement. They provided free play, outdoor experiences, healthcare, and opportunities for exploration. What is the origin of the high scope approach? High scope grew from the Perry Preschool Project for children from disadvantaged families. It developed into an educational organization and method focused on active participatory learning. What is the main focus of the high scope curriculum? The high scope curriculum develops children's abilities through active learning across major developmental areas. It organizes learning through key developmental indicators. What is the role of the teacher in a high scope classroom? The teacher shares control with children, observes their actions, and supports their plans. The teacher first validates children's ideas and then extend their thinking. Why is predictable daily routines important in high scope? A consistent routine helps children know what will happen next and give them a sense of control. It supports learning, independent choice, and responsible participation. What are the important ingredients of active learning? Active learning includes materials, manipulation, choice, child language, and adult support. Children learn by directly acting on objects, ideas, and experiences. How did the Bank Street approach begins? The Bank Street approach developed from the work of Lucy Sprague Mitchell and the Bureau of Educational Experiments. It was influenced strongly by Dewey's idea of learning through experiences. What is the Bank Street approach? The Bank Street approach is a child centered method that develops cognitive, emotional, physical, and social abilities. It integrates subjects and connects learning with children's experiences. How is play used in the Bank Street classroom? Teachers use children's play as a starting point for discussion, investigation, and lessons. They take advantage of teachable moments while still maintaining classroom structure. What factors guide curriculum decision in Bank Street School? Teachers consider children's interest, developmental level, pace of growth, and experiences outside school. They may adjust planned topics according to children's emerging curiosity. Give an example of integrated learning in the Bank Street approach. A pre-trained grocery store can lead to learning about food sources, health, shopping lists, numbers, and community occupations. A field trip or visitor may extend the activity. Who was Rudolf Steiner? Rudolf Steiner was an Australian philosopher, social reformer, artist, and scientist. He opened the first Waldorf school in Stuttgart in 1919 for workers' children. What is the main aim of Steiner education? Steiner education aims to develop the whole child and create a lifelong love of learning. It values academic, physical, emotional, artistic, and spiritual development. What are the aims of the Steiner early childhood education? It provides stable relationships, natural play materials, rhythm, and meaningful practical activities. Strong foundation skills are developed before formal academic instruction begins. What are the main features of Waldorf education? Waldorf education integrates imagination, artistic activity, movement, practical work, and intellectual learning. Teaching follows developmental stages and seeks balance in the child's whole personality. How did the Reggio Emilia approach originate? The Reggio Emilia approach developed in northern Italy after the Second World War. Loris Malaguzzi worked with local parents and citizens to create democratic school for young children. What is meant by the 100 languages of children? The phrase means that children express and develop ideas in many ways, including speech, drawing, movement, play, construction, and music. Reggio education values all these forms of communication. इसके साथ ही हमारा EDUA601 के तमाम इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन आंसर्स लेक्चर वाइज यहाँ कंप्लीट हो जाते हैं। मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि ये वीडियो आपके लिए बहुत यूजफुल रहेगी। अगर आप चाहते हैं कि मैं इन क्वेश्चंस को उर्दू में इन डिटेल आपको समझाऊं तो आप मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में जरूर बताइएगा। अगर आप लोगों के ज्यादा कमेंट्स आएंगे इस बारे में तो मैं जरूर आपके लिए उर्दू में इन डिटेल इन क्वेश्चंस को प्रिपेयर करने की कोशिश करूंगी। चैनल पर नए हैं तो सब्सक्राइब करना हरगिज ना भूलिएगा और मेरी वीडियोस को जरूर वर्चुअल यूनिवर्सिटी के डिफरेंट प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे आप पहुंचाइए, शेयर कीजिए ताकि आपकी तरह दूसरे स्टूडेंट्स भी अपने फाइनल टर्म की अच्छी प्रिपरेशन कर सकें। मैं इंशाअल्लाह अपनी नेक्स्ट वीडियो के साथ जल्द हाजिर होंगी। तब तक आप सब अपना बहुत ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज।